Ari Emanuel, really good to see you. A big day for sure. Congratulations on this debut. You know, I got to tell you, nothing is ever easy in this world, and this has been a twisty, turny road. But here you are. I guess I would start by asking you, why now? Why this debut? You know, here in April 2021.
Well, listen, we listened to everybody the last time. The bottom fell out of the market. You had the WeWorks debacle back then, and we weren't getting the economics that we thought we deserved. We also realized we had to align our shareholders and our stockholders in the UFC and make it one entity. We also had to resegment the business, and we had to address what people were telling us about cutting the debt. And with what we had on the books, what we've raised, and the cash flow that we get, we're going to be able to go sub-4 in a very short order here. With the UFC, people were talking about the dual situation. We've consolidated that, and we've resegmented the business with what people want. And I'd say lastly, we are in every secular trend as a company. We represent people that make content. We own content. We represent people that put on sports. We own sports. And we have the largest events and experience company, I think, in the business. And in all three segments, I think we are the reopening story. We have tailwinds in all of them. And as been reported last week with AT&T and Max, the subs rates going up. Today, Comcast, the sub rates going up. I think yesterday, you know, David Zaslav talked about Discovery Plus. So we're in the best situation, I think, of any other company, and we're unique. There's nobody that sits in all the places we sit on a global scale. Nobody compares to us. So with reopening happening, and reopening's happening in the following manner. We'd sell out at UFC. We have last week in May, in our July, our Taste Festival series in London is selling out. We had to add extra days. In the movie theater business, who knew that Godzilla was going to make $45 million? This past weekend, 2 movies made over $20 million. So we touch all the areas of where the world is going right now. So we feel very comfortable with kind of where we sit.
Well, and I'm so glad you brought up reopening because, you know, we're talking today, you know, I'm a little bit further uptown than you are in New York, but the mayor of New York City today said July 1, the city's reopening.
Right.
That's good news for everyone. I would imagine it's especially good news for you given the businesses that you're in. So what does that look like? Where do you see that sort of hit your business first?
Well, I would say to you, we're different from most people because we're global. So I just mentioned to you where we sit on the Taste Festival series in London. Yeah. We're at 75% capacity, but we've had to add more days because of the demand. On a festival from On Location that we have a business with the NFL, we had a concert in the first quarter of 22, sold out in less than 90 minutes, and we had to add an extra weekend. When we put our UFC fights, the 3 in a row, they sold out immediately. We had our biggest packages for the Super Bowl coming up in Los Angeles for On Location. The 10 biggest tickets we've ever sold out. The movie theater business, we are in all those areas. So from our perspective, you know, the good thing about the company is you can't position us in one area. And I would say to you during COVID, and that's what was the benefit of us during COVID, we did 80% of our EBITDA during COVID. The UFC, without audiences, which is a big player for us, and commercial pay-per-views, we beat our numbers by 10%. So we are, I think, the best position for where the world's going and distribution at all forms.
And so talk to me more about that UFC experience, and we can talk more about sort of the structure of the deal in a second, but the learnings from that, because some of that has got to stick, I would imagine, in terms of how people consume it and therefore how you produce it. Right. You understand content better than anyone. How does it change what you do going forward?
Well, here's what I would say to you is, you know, we have an incredible partnership with Disney and ESPN. They've been incredible partners. And we have kind of figured out, we have a direct-to-consumer business on Fight Pass. It's a global product. We do digital, you know, we have a great deal with TikTok that they've given to our sport. We're doing NFTs right now with Dappler Labs. We were one of the first investors in Dappler Labs about 2 years ago. We'll be the second sport after the NBA. So we have looked at the world and kind of how our thesis, where distribution is a commodity, and how we distribute things and make things aware. And so we've used all of our knowledge to do that. And then we bring it back to the company and we use it for clients in all forms, whether that be a Wimbledon client, a movie star, a movie, et cetera. So that's how we approach the business. We use all the elements that we have access to globally, and we kind of utilize that throughout the company.
You know, this whole notion of ownership of content and
Right.
ownership of businesses, I feel like you've been talking about that for some time. The world has certainly caught up in that regard, and we talk about it every time, all the time.
Well, we started the business based on George Gilder.
Right.
In his book, Life After Television, he talks about, there's going to be infinite distribution and content's going to be more important than anything. And that's what we built the business on, that thesis. And we're in every vertical of where the entertainment business is going. We're in fashion, we're in food with the Taste Festival, we're in art with Frieze Art Fair, we're in sports, we're in music, we're in events because it's an experience economy. So we have used that thesis from 26 years ago and kept on expanding on it, and the world has kind of expanded its distribution platforms. How we used to define content to today's how we used to define content is completely different, and we're positioned for all of it.
And so that ownership, I just want to press you on that a little bit because
No
it
problem.
does change the economics a little bit, right? In terms of
Yes.
who's making money where.
Yes.
So how does that change where you invest and who you invest in?
Well, here's what I would say to you. We have ownership, but we also represent people, and we represent sports all over the world. There's better economics when you own it and you have all the systems by which to exploit it, which we do with the UFC, we do bull riding, European basketball, and many other of our assets. So we have a perfect mix right now in the company as it relates to ownership and representation. That might continue. COVID has given us, I think, huge opportunity on the M&A side, but we'll see what happens. But the mix right now for us is pretty good because it gives us enough yin and yang of kind of how do we operate the business, and then to the trends that are coming up so that we can move into trends. And remember, we're global. We're not just the United States.
And so when you think about the UFC, obviously a global business, and that was borne
Yes.
out in the pandemic in a big way. Why do that deal now? Obviously, it makes it sort of a cleaner ownership structure, but you're also making an increasingly bigger bet on that specific sport. Tell me about that.
Well, listen, it was the note we got from the last time we went up. People were confused. We think we're a better company public right now. A lot of people have made the bet with the company for the last 26 years. So we listened to the marketplace, we rolled it in. We have a huge opportunity in the marketplace because I think we're one of one, as I just said. The sport is an incredible sport. It's a global sport unlike anything else. I don't have to tell you the rules, whether you're in Singapore, Japan, China, United States, France, Latin America, Middle East. You know the rules. I think it's different if you had cricket going around the world or U.S. football going around the world. We're complete gold. We're also, you can consume it on a highlight because we fight this weekend. It's a 15 or 25-minute fight. A lot of fights end quickly. You can consume it on your phone, and you don't really have to explain the rules. And we have fighters from all over the world. And we think it's the only true global sport that everybody understands. And all of our fighters are from all over the world. So it's not like concentrated in India, concentrated in China, concentrated in Brazil, concentrated in the United States, concentrated in Mexico. Nope, it's a global sport.
And so what do you take from that sport as you think about either investing in other sports or advising other athletes? But, I think back to what we saw with Super League in the last couple weeks.
Right.
This is an upside down world for sports, but also a lot of opportunity. Where do you think about expansion?
Well, so, we test on ourselves. So we're about to launch NFTs with Dappler Labs coming this June. So we can then go to a Wimbledon or US Open and say, here's what you should be doing, and or FIFA or any of the other sports, here's how we are handling our business. They can see the growth we've done. And not that we experiment, but we actually test things out in our sport, which we have the ability to do. And all we have to do is talk to Dana, Dana talks to me, and we figure that out. So that gives us a unique window into where things are going and what works, what doesn't work, mistakes we make. And then we can take it to clients in the entertainment business, we can take it to clients in sports business. And that's how we utilize the platform to really increase the value across the platform for all clients and all things that we own.
So I think I'd be journalistically delinquent if I didn't ask you about your new board member, Elon Musk. Tell me about that, what he brings to the table, because he brings a lot, and to say the least. But what specifically are you looking for, or are you getting already from him?
Well, listen, over the many years that he and I have known each other, He's always, and I always ask him things about where the world's going. He gives me great insight to kind of how to think about the business and where technology is going to take civilization and people in general. And so he's also an entrepreneur. He knows what it takes to build a company, all the things you have to do. There's no straight line in building a company, as I can attest, over 26 years. And so those two elements gives us great insight in what we should be doing at our company and how we have to think about where the world's going.
So last question for you, Ari, before I let you get back to this very exciting day. You're well known for looking around the corner. Look around the corner for me. This is a time of great inflection in this world, in the business world, in the media world. What do you see when you look around the corner as we get back to some semblance of normal?
Well, I would just say the following. I think right now, based on what we're seeing, people want to kind of go out and experience stuff. They want to go to sporting events. They want to go to movies. They want to kind of get out, and they want to be social. And that's actually, I think, going to be, I don't know how long it's going to last. They want to consume things. I don't think the trend for consuming content is going to end at any level, at any form. And that's actually, I think, what's going to happen over a long run here, 5-7 years. And so from our perspective, we're positioned for that, and we think we have some of the best assets in that marketplace to take advantage of it.